Hey fam, it is your girl, Miss Michelle Allen Franklin, honey, Miss Michelle D.I., Mrs. Community Builder. It is Juneteenth. Your girl has been working. I started a new job. It has been busy. I have been tired, but I wanted to come on and give you guys a good replay tonight. This replay is one of my favorites. It honors our fathers. It honors Juneteenth. And I tie in what is happening with our men that may be, or not even know that they are, suffering with some anxiety, and how it all plays a role together. And so, y'all know how your girl do. So, here we go. I've been posting something to encourage our men, to inspire, to empower our men, and breaking the stigma of mental health is one of the things that I'm so passionate about. And so I ain't been able to do a good live for you, but I've been trying to give you some good information. Some things that might help you, just to make you think a little bit. If you're stuck along the way, honey, along in this journey called life, give you a little something, get you up out of that, I call it quicksand. Yeah, get you up out of that quicksand and get you back to purpose, because we need you. Yeah, I know it's a whole lot of talk about women, and I'm a woman, right? And I loves me some empowerment of women, right? But we need our men. I don't care what's going on. We need our men, guys. We need you. And we need you to be healthy, and we need you to be strong, and we need you to stand up. Where are the gentlemen, right? We need you all. And so what a tremendous difference it makes. You got to take my word for it. You can Google it statistically. What does it look like when our men and our men are strong, and it strengthens our communities? It is Juneteenth today, right? Today is Monday, June the 19th, and it is Juneteenth today. What is Juneteenth? We're going to talk about it. If you don't know, you will know, but it is nationally recognized a holiday, and that just all in itself is an amazing thing. Grateful for being recognized. And then we're talking about anxiety today, y'all. Why anxiety? Because you know what? When I think about our men, and when I think about Men's Month, I think about Father's Day was yesterday. Amazing, amazing fathers. Um, Anxiety plays such a huge role, and it affects our men. And so I thought, I'm gonna tie it all together. Stay with me. I'm gonna tie it all together. It relates. I'm gonna tie it all together. So let's start with yesterday. Yesterday was Father's Day. Somebody, if you don't know, you will know. Keep watching. I don't care what you hear me talk about, because your girl is very transparent, and you might hear me saying some things about my father's, somebody else's father, somebody else's brother, uncle, cousin, whatever. But guess what? Your girl is a daddy's girl. Yes, I am. Always have been. I loves my father to the 10th power and then back again. Infinity and beyond, okay? I loves my father, and I'm grateful for him. I'm grateful for him. It is this place that I have had to come to of appreciation, right? Me, I was blessed with some amazing men in my life, and blessed with an amazing father. I'm going to just take a minute and talk about him. I'm going to tell you about him. His name is Larry Allen. He is a beautiful, beautiful spirit on this side of heaven. I thank God that he's still on this side of heaven. When I was little, My dad lives in Texas, right? I'm in Texas. My mom lived in Baltimore, Maryland. They divorced when I was about 2 years old. And my dad used to send for us, right? And so just take a minute and think about that thing. My dad is in Texas. We're in Baltimore. He didn't have to do it, right? Everything, it was over between him and mom. He didn't have to send for us. We've been a whole nother state, states away, right? I'm grateful because, in the city, when I think about it, that city life, it's a lot going on in the city, y'all. It's a lot the kids see, the young kids, very young age, the kids see, shouldn't really be seeing, or, that you're exposed to. And some kids, because they don't have anything else, they think that's all it is. There's nothing else for me. This is my life. This is what it is. Or, they don't have any hopes and dreams for anything more, because even when they see it on TV, that's not my reality. That's not, I can't achieve it. I can't attain it. I can't reach it. I can see it, but I don't see how I'm going to get there. Right. And to have another environment to come to. Right. In Texas, my family is big, very family oriented, very God fearing, God loving, just good, generous, faith filled, faith based people. You know what I mean? And you have this sense of family and a sense of togetherness, and, and then you add a little Jesus on that. Right? It's just a different exposure. You know what I mean? It's just different. And so it gave me two sides. You know what I mean? It gave me two lives. And so in Texas, when I would come to Texas, I could be a little spoiled, right? But in Baltimore, not so much. Not to say that I didn't get what I wanted, I needed, but it was just different, Dad took care. He takes care. He took care of us to the 10th power. Me and my brother will come down for the summer, and the other thing is, it makes you appreciate, you know, this is why I look at what I want in a husband, right? Is some qualities that I see in my dad. My dad is a provider to the 10th power, but his father was a provider to the 10th power. And so the boys that came out, providers, my uncles, providers, my cousins, providers, right? Protectors, right? And I spoke, like some people might be like, oh, Michelle, you just said, I know. I said, everybody not going to get everything right, right? Our parents don't get it all right. But for the things that they got right, yeah, protector. Protector to the 10th power. My cousins, my uncles, men, boy, y'all see those shows where guys come around? My dad always, who your family? Who your people? What's your name? What's your mama name? What you do? What? My uncle with a gun. Like, what's your name? Who is that family? Uncle Mike. What? Who? What you but? What you but? Don't get it twisted. Look, one time I was dating this guy. This is probably in the last 10 years. This ain't probably the last 10. It was in the last 10 years. I was dating this guy, and my car broke down. And this is the protectors in my family. So my car breaks down, and I needed some tires or whatever. And so my uncle takes me up to the shop to get my tires and stuff and everything. So the guy that I was talking to at the time, he was up the street. It's like, oh, my uncle lived right down the street. I'm right up the street from you. I'm gonna come down. And so he comes down to the shop, and he pulls up, and my uncle was like, "What you doing here? What you want? I got this. She taking care of. She'll need you here." It was so funny. It was so funny. But he was like, I just saw a gun on sale inside. Let me go inside. Get this gun. It was just, but the love, that I have, all of us girls, we all can talk about it. All my cousins, and my aunts and things, the love that my family, the men in the family have for us, and how they lead and they guide us. If we break down on the road, I can guarantee you, they coming to get us. You know what I mean? They coming to see about us. And so it's a beautiful thing to know that you have a beautiful spirit. I have some great men in my family, great men. And so I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that. Grateful for it. I thank you, and I love each and every one of you. And I thank you all for loving me and loving our family and loving the women of our family, the way that you do, to each and every person, each and every body who has the same blood running through us, and some that don't, because our family is such that it didn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have the same blood running through you or not. If you family, you family, right? And so it's so crazy, because I was talking to my aunt yesterday. I went to see her. I was thinking about it yesterday, and I went to see my aunt, and she was talking about my cousin, Derek. And she talked about how he was in the service and one of his friends passed away, and how his friend's wife or girlfriend at the time, I'm not sure if it was a wife or the girlfriend, but significant other at the time was pregnant. And Derek went to her and said, I'm going to be the father. I'll be the father of this young lady, of your baby. And has been that. This girl is well grown, married with her own kids. And my aunt was just showing me pictures yesterday, and I thought, how amazing is that? You have, some people out there don't even want to take care of their own kids, right? But you have somebody that is going to step up and take care of someone else's child. And so I'm just shouting out to all of the men out there in the world that, may not be your blood, but you are loving up on somebody else's child. My father is that example. My grandfather was that example of a man. And so what generations and how the generations are affected from what you do, from what you do today, that you might not even be thinking is a big deal, right? You might not think, that ain't nothing to do. I'm sure my father wasn't thinking. Same thing with my mom when she was pregnant with my brother. I'm sure. It wasn't like, that's my son. That's my son. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And just the layers and everything that came with that. So, and again, being grateful for my father and giving us a place to come and a place to go. When my brother in that city life got too much, family life stress, the city thing got too much, guess what? My brother was able to come to Texas and is very successful, go to school, get his mind around, failed the 9th grade. But guess what? You will know it to this day. My brother is the smartest person that I know. I mean, the smartest, brilliant, amazing mind, right? What I'm saying to you is, what happens? Did he fail the ninth grade because he wasn't smart? No, he didn't fail. He failed because it was a lot of environmental things going on that was affecting him. And as kids, we don't know how to express those things, right? And so what happens when a man comes along? Yeah, there's enough to be grateful for. When you just really look at that thing, what happens? Are you that man in somebody else's life that is coming along to mentor, to guide, to lead, to love, to embrace, to say, hey, come on, let me show you the way. Take my hand and come on over here. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So in that, and it is because we hold these things where we feel like, it wasn't perfect. Things are not perfect. People drop the ball. But if you focus on the negative, that's what you're going to get in your mind, is the negative. Can you pull some positive out the crazy? Yeah. Can you pull some positive out of the crazy? The positive out of the crazy is, again, 16 years old. What? I was in that city life, making some bad choices, making some wrong decisions. And what happened? I got to come. I had another option, right? I'm raising my daughter in Baltimore. What happened? She was making some bad decisions, so was not making the best choices. And what happened? She got to come into a different environment. And we're all successful people because of what? One man's choice to be a father, right? To be a father, to hold space, that made a decision. Grateful, grateful. Where would we be? What would our lives look like? Where would you be? What would your life look like? I hear somebody saying, Michelle, I never knew my father. Again, I feel like even for those people that don't know your father or don't have a relationship or may be estranged, God always sends you a substitute. He always sends you somebody. So I'm telling you that you might not be getting that love from the person that you might want to give to you, or that person you think you should be getting it for, but could you look at it from a lens of gratefulness of, who do you have in your life? I promise you I'm not a preacher, but I feel like I'm preaching right now. I was like, oh, that's good. Who do you have in your life, right? What man figure do you have in your life? What angel did God send in your life? Because that's what I feel like my father is for so many men, because we had some other men in our family whose fathers were absent, whose fathers might have passed away, or whatever happened, that the men, my father was one of those that stepped in and helped to lead, to help guide, to help. You know what I mean? What men do you have in your life that you can be grateful for on this day? Can you focus on that? Okay. I'm going to just take a minute and say, Lord, thank you. Thank you for the beautiful men in the world, Lord Jesus, that are fathers. Fathers by blood and fathers by angelic divine intervention of yours, Lord. We give your name all the glory, all the honor, and all the praise, and we are grateful for all the lessons, the good, the bad, and the crazy, for all of it working together, for us to be who we are today. Lord, we give your name all the glory, all the honor, and all the praise. And we thank you. Yes, grateful. Thank you. And so, next, it is Monday, June the 19th. Again, it is Juneteenth, guys. Well, Juneteenth, Juneteenth. What is it? What is it? What is it? What is it? It's Juneteenth. Again, I didn't put my phone. Let me put my phone on silent. We live. Let me put it on do not disturb for a moment. Just a moment in time. Juneteenth. Okay. So again, every year, every summer, we got to come down. And growing up in Baltimore, if you're not in Texas, if you weren't in Texas before President Biden, you probably never heard of Juneteenth. A lot of people don't even know what Juneteenth is, right? Some people are like, what is it? What is it? What is it? We used to come down for the summer and come to Texas. Excuse me. And as a young girl, I've always, knew that there was a Juneteenth celebration. I didn't know what all it meant, but I knew it was huge in Texas, and it was something that was celebrated in Texas, and it was going to be like a big, beautiful thing, and it was going to be a parade, and it was going to be, this huge celebration, and everybody was happy, and it was just an air of pride and of love and just this spirit, and a freedom. And so, as I got older and found out what it was and what it is, I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And so, for those of y'all that don't know, let me go to the official, because I don't want to mess it up. Let me go to the official. So, Emancipation Proclamation, honey, let's go into a little bit of history. Emancipation Proclamation is, of course, when Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves, right? So everybody else in the world celebrating. So we know back in the day what? They didn't have phones, right? They didn't have FaceTime. They didn't have cars like that, right? So they are riding horses, what? To give them spread the news. They're going, you had to wait to get, and then it's spreading word of mouth, word of mouth. The slavery is over. Slaves are free. The slaves are free. So everybody is getting the word. All the colonies around the world got the word, right? Texas, one, we know it has been known as one of the most racist states in the United States, right? Didn't get the word. Didn't tell their slaves. They didn't get the word. And so on June the 19th was the official day, 1865. And so not only was it 2 years late, it was 2 years and 5 months late. Slavery was over January the 1st, 1863. Texas didn't get the word until June the 19th, 1865. And so, can you imagine being free? But you still working as if you're locked up, or your life are acting as if you're still in bondage and in chains. This is what I think about when I think about it. I'm like, man, because that still happens today, right? We're free. But somewhere in our mind, somewhere, sometime in the physical, you're only going so far because these shackles got you bound. I'm talking to somebody. I said, you're free. Can you imagine? Because right now you are free. But sometimes in the subconscious, we still act as if we're bound and we're held hostage. Well, Juneteenth is very, very significant. It's a reminder. It's a reminder to celebrate glorious days of freedom, that we're not in bondage. The devil is a liar, right? We're not in bondage. The devil is a liar. And so I want you to just get that thing. Let that seep in your spirit, honey. You're not bond. You're not in bondage. You're free. Okay. So this is Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, which declared that all slaves in Confederate territory, that means down south, honey, anything under the Mason-Dixon line, were to be set free. However, it took time for this news to reach all parts of the country, particularly areas under Confederate control. Is that right? It took time. I love how they word it. It took time, did it? It was on June the 19th, 1865, when Union Army General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas, and issued the General Order Number 3, officially proclaiming the freedom of enslaved people in Texas. This event is known as Juneteenth, marked a significant milestone in the abolition of slavery in the United States. Juneteenth since has become a day of celebration and remembrance. It is a time to honor African American history and culture, commemorate the struggles and achievements of the African American community, and reflect on the ongoing fight for racial equality and social justice. Juneteenth celebrations often include community gatherings, parades, educational events, music, dance, and readings of the Emancipation Proclamation. In recent years, this is the beautiful part right here, there has been a growing movement to recognize Juneteenth as a national holiday in the United States. And on June the 17th, 2021, wow, how long did we take? It was officially declared a federal holiday. Look at God. Yes, federal holiday, known as Juneteenth, National Independence Day. Not taking anything away from the 4th. Don't do that. It ain't taking anything away. But national holiday, National Independence Day, commemorating the end of slavery in the United States. That's different. That's different, isn't it? Yeah. This recognition signifies the historical importance of Juneteenth and its significance in acknowledging the nation's complex past and ongoing commitment to equality. And so I thank President Joseph Biden, for that recognition. Because isn't it just something that you want to be seen, that you want to be recognized, that you don't feel like you crazy for the struggle and the things that you've gone through? Not that we got to have them hold this pity party. African Americans don't want to be pitied, right? We don't want to be pitied, but we do want to be acknowledged. We do want to be seen. And don't we all? Just like everyone else, right? Just like everyone else. And so I feel like it's a beautiful thing because it paves the way and it opens the doors for everyone else. It's something to say, We did some things right and we did some things wrong. In our country and in our lives, right? Is it just something to say that we don't get it all right? We didn't get it all right. We made some mistakes. I'm sorry. Let me acknowledge you. Is that all we want? It is. It is. So I thank President Joe Biden for this, because beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to be acknowledged. My girlfriend, Lamitris, posted a Juneteenth prayer. I'm going to read it. It says, "Dear Lord, we celebrate the glorious day when African Americans, enslaved people, were freed. Grant us their spirit of hope and faith for the day of Jubilee. Thank you for the untold contributions by African Americans to our culture and nation, and many expressions, prejudice and exploitation, in May oppression, prejudice, and exploitation be driven from our nation. Amen." Yeah, she didn't write it, she posted it, but it's a beautiful post, a beautiful prayer. May our oppression that's still going on, may the prejudice that's still going on, may the exploitation that's still going on be driven from our nation. Can we touch and agree on that? Amen, amen, and amen. We have come such a long way. I'm not one. It's so funny with me with history, because I'm one of those people that, things hurt so much. I feel things and I'm very, empathic. And so, I'm sorry. Look, we live. I got an itch. I'm very empathic. And so, I was one of those people that wanted to know, but didn't want to be like on that front line with it. You know what I mean? But would support the fight from the back, if that makes sense. And it was because of fear. It is because of anxiety. It is because of it's painful, and so some people just choose to not even go there. They choose to not even acknowledge. They choose to not even address, right? And I realized that is wrong. You know what I mean? I feel like that is, I won't say wrong. Let me not say wrong. I'm going to say that is allowing fear to control your life. It's a way that fear controls you. It was controlling me, rather. Let me not put it on everybody else. Let me say me, right? And I didn't want fear to control me in that way anymore, And so, just addressing and just looking at how, different things and different aspects of racism has affected my life. I always say, I thank God I'm living in this time, in that time of 1800s, not times of the early 1900s, the times of the civil rights movement before. You know what I mean? Like, that took such a special, courageous group of individuals, known and unknown. Faith, to be walking in something and so dark and to bring light into darkness. You think about your Harriet Tubmans of the world to bring light in such darkness, right? And to be so brave and to create a path and to be a path, to be a vessel, right? A whole nother layer. It's a whole nother layer. And so, in this place of gratefulness, of this African American celebrations day, day of celebrating African American history and heritage, I'm grateful for that. What I think about when I think about men and I think about everything and all that has happened and the anxiety and the fear that comes along with being a man and being an African American man in this country that has very strategically targeted you, right? Very strategically targeted you for generations, for you to be used in ways to break your spirit, to hold you back, to tear you down, to control you, very strategically for generations. Why wouldn't it be feasible that our men suffer from anxiety? Would that be far-fetched when you really think about that thing, that there's some anxiety there? Yeah, yeah, think about that thing. I'm just saying, all of the seen and unseen that our men go through. It's a different perspective, right? When you look at it from that angle, well, what do men have to be afraid of? What do you, well, that didn't affect you? Well, that, you don't know how. I'm not a man, and I'm just imagining. I don't know how it's processing in your body, in your spirit, what you've seen from your father, from your uncles, from your cousins, from your brothers. How different situations have affected your spirit, have affected your being, how the visual of my father's generation, my mother's generation, the people born in the 50s, that generation of people, they seen the uprising. They were teenagers when Martin Luther King was killed. They were teenagers when Malcolm was killed, right? So you have this rise of pride, this rise of marching, this rise of stand up for yourself. And then it is this, no, get your ass back on your place. Get back in your place or we'll kill you for that. You trying to stand up for what? You trying to raise a nation? You trying to what? You'll get killed for that. They were teenagers. You might have been a teenager, or even as an adult, or maybe even a young child. You were born in that time frame. And some people are like, well, Michelle, it's just we way past that now. But again, I showed y'all the book the other day, The Body Keeps the Score, right? If you haven't acknowledged that thing, if you haven't dealt with it, if you haven't processed that in your mind, how did you feel about that as a young boy, as a young man coming up in this world to watch these great leaders that were fighting for you get gunned down? How did that make you feel? Those are not conversations that we're having in the African American community. Those conversations were not had. You know why? Because we were taught to be strong. We were taught that it's weak to cry. We were taught that it's weak to feel some kind of way about this life-altering change that is happening right in front of me, to have so much hope, to have so much, and then it's gone. And then you fast forward to a world of Martin Luther King passing, and you fast forward to a world of, oh no, that was wrong. That was a great man. Now this whole shift happens. Now all these freedoms come, but people are still in the South. You going to school, schools are being integrated, and people are not happy about it. All the negative energy that entails, boys having to walk to school, boys getting killed. I can remember being here in Texas as a teenager, a young adult, as a teenager, and hearing about a boy walking. So we're talking in the 90s. A boy was walking, just walking down the street. And three boys, teenage boys, white boys, grabbed him, dragged him, beheaded him in the 90s. Just sit on that for a minute. How traumatic is that? Did I know him? No, I didn't. But did that lay something in me? Did it affect me in a way? It did. I think about it all the time. It is the knowing that there's a boogeyman out there, but because it's daytime, oh, he's not around right now, but he's there lurking. That evilness is around lurking. And that does bring about a reality to your life that at any given time, somebody can make a decision or make a choice at any given time. And I hear somebody saying, Michelle, that can happen. Yeah, it could. It could. None of it is right. None of it. But today we're talking about the prejudice, the oppression of a Black man, that he can't even just walk down the street. Trayvon Martin. You can't even just walk to the store. These things are real. What bring about some anxiety, right? In a Black man. What's different for a Black man to drive down the street? My brother, successful, went to school, studied, top of his class. Top of his class. Teaching everybody, helping his classmates to pass. Came to Texas, was offered a job. They flew him down here, moved him here. One of the first things that he did was he bought himself a car. That was his gift to himself. Anytime my brother got on the highway, anytime, he had to be a drug dealer or he had to have stolen the car, because there's no way that a young Black man could afford this type of car. Is that right? You don't think that will cause some anxiety? That every time I get in my car, I can't even just go for a ride. I can't just enjoy the fruits of my labor. It's a different conversation. We got to open our eyes up to these things. So when I say that men, there's some subconscious stronghold, anxiety is one of them. And our men suffer from anxiety and they don't even know it. Because you know why? Just like us women, we're going and doing and being. We're not processing it like, oh my gosh, something traumatic has happened to me. Oh my goodness, these things have happened. I've seen it. I see these visuals happening. I'm processing it like it might affect me, but I got to keep going anyway. It's doing something in your body. All these things that you're not acknowledging, guess what? They're still there. When I was younger, I'm snorting. I think about this now because I'm like, wow, I didn't see it back then. Look, when I was younger, this is after my divorce, right? I was dating this guy and I'm in Texas, right? I'm in Texas at that point. And I was dating this guy and the guy lived in Houston. And so I would drive, to see him. He would come and see me. I'd go see him, whatever. And so I'm driving to Houston. And so I, of course, like if I'm going out of town or something, I would just tell my dad. And I could not understand for the life of me. My dad always got an attitude. Every time I got ready to get on the highway, my dad would get an attitude, right? And I'm like, dang, why is he? Well, where are you going? Why you got it? What? All these questions, right? And I'm like, dang, dad, we just going. Like in my little young mind, right? I'm in my 20s. So in my little young mind, I had to be 20. I was dating him when I was 20 years old because I turned 21 dating him. So in my little young mind, I'm like, dang, dad, like I'm grown. Like what's going on here? And so my dad would all question me and stuff. And so I remember I stopped telling my dad when I would go because I'm like, dang, nobody got time for all that. I'm just going for the weekend. So then instead of telling him before I went, this was the first time I called him and I waited till I got there. And then I called him to say, hey, I'm in Houston, right? And so my dad said, you in Houston? I said, yeah. He said, when did you get down there? I said, I just got here. Mm-hmm. That's an Allen thing when they listen to the story. Mm-hmm. Right. And so my dad said, what you go to Houston for? Like, he I've been all these other times, right? What you in Houston for? I said, Dad, my friend lives here. I told you my friend, we're just gonna be here for the weekend. He said, where's Sean? I said, she with me. When you coming back? I said, Dad, we're just gonna be for the weekend. Well, what'd you go down there for? I said, I came to see my boyfriend. He was like, well, you went down there to give him something, didn't you? Go on and give him something and come on back home. What? I mean, just anything will come out of my dad's mouth. I love him. I love my father. Oh my God, I love my father. He said, go on and give him something and come on back home. That's what she went down there for. I said, Dad, we're going to be here for the weekend. I'll be back on Sunday. I'm calling from a payphone. This is before cell phones. I'm calling from a payphone. I'll be back on Sunday. He said, okay. And so we hung up the phone. And I remember like, Lord, I can't tell my dad I'm going anywhere. I don't think I'm going to tell him anymore. But what I realized is anytime I got ready to get onto the highway, my dad would just be tripping. He would be quote unquote tripping, right? What I realize now is my dad was scared for me. He was scared, right? He was afraid something was going to happen. It was causing him anxiety for his baby girl to be on the highway. Anything could happen. I can see that now. I didn't see it back then in my little young mind. I was like, dang, Dad, you're tripping. Like, right? When Dad was asking the question, who are you? Who your people? What y'all? That was protection, right? One, he wanted to make sure I ain't messing with one of my cousins because there's hundreds of thousands of us down here, right? And at any given time, you surely could be talking to one of your cousins. That's a whole nother situation. But the other thing was protection. Who your people? I need to know if they good people because it's my baby girl, right? That's protection. You know what I mean? We don't look at it like that. And so it is the anxiety that you have and now. And so I'll put a penny in that too and say, when I was younger, my mom used to get in, I drive like this because my mom will get in the car in a heartbeat. And we'd be going. My stepfather would get in the car in a heartbeat. We would drive to Florida and drive to Virginia and go to the parks, to go to Kings Dominion and Hershey Park and Pennsylvania, all of the stuff, right? And so it wasn't nothing in my little mind to get in the car to drive. But my father exposed to the things that he was exposed to, maybe the things that he saw in the South was a little different. I even know that when we used to drive from Baltimore to Texas, it was you don't come through Mississippi in the dark. You don't come through, right? We had to, when it was light, make sure that you're coming through those, after you get past Atlanta, you make sure you're driving during the daytime. And that was what? Because of the stories. Those things are real, right? I was driving back from Atlanta. This probably has been, excuse me, I'm saying Atlanta, but I'm in Austin. I was driving from Austin about, well, it probably was about 7 or 8. So I'd say about 6 years ago. I'd say about 6 years ago. I was driving from Austin. And normally I would I would take the main highway, 31. I would take 80, the toll road, and hit Waco, hit 31, right? Those are all main highways. But I had to go to work. And so I'm in my little MapQuest, like the fastest route was to take this back way and it saved me about an hour. And so I was like, oh man, I'm gonna do this. And it took me through Palestine and this little back way or whatever. And so I'm driving. Marley sleep in the back. I'm driving. I said this is about 6 years ago. This is 2023. Okay. So I'm driving. I'm in some little back country town. You know what I mean? I don't even know exactly where I was at, right? I'm in some little backcountry town. There's some guys on big wheel, that really, really, those really, really big Hot Wheel like trucks, right? Those big, big trucks, the ones that you see on the car shows is running over other cars. It's like bouncing over them big, big tires. Because all I could see is the tires from my window, right? On the side is my window. And so I got to go to work. So I'm just trying to get home. So I'm like zooming past people and stuff, right? So I get to this little town and we're on a one-way street. As I get to the little town, I go through and I'm zipping past people. So I zip past these people. Next thing I know, two guys in this truck. Next thing I know, they're chasing me, laughing, all the stuff that you can picture in the craziest racist video they were doing. And so I'm like, what the hell is going on? I feel like I'm in the damn Twilight Zone. And so they're pulling up beside me and they're like trying to, I don't even know what all they're saying or whatever, because I'm like, I don't know what the hell they think about to happen. I don't know what they think they about to do with me and this child, but it ain't happening today. And I zoomed my ass right on through. They followed me. I would say chase me, basically, because they were behind me for at least a good 45 minutes. A good 45 minutes. And at that point, I mean, I'm zipping because we were coming in and out of little back towns. And so the street, if you can imagine, would be a one-way street. And then it would open up a little bit and then it would go back to a one-way street, right? As you go through these little places. And so I just started zipping. I mean, I started driving on the side of the curb, on the side. I was going past red lights. I would pause, look, zoom past the red light to get away from these guys. And I would think I was away and I'd be like, okay, good, they gone. And then I would look up and they were right there laughing and joking and zipping and doing all this stuff behind me and trying to pull up. But I don't know what kind of game y'all playing, but y'all ain't playing it with me today. I zoomed my ass all the way up, hit the back street and came down, got through Palestine. And thankfully, once I cut that corner, I ended up losing them. But that was the scariest thing. And I thought to myself, what the hell? What? Like, people just do things, and it's a lot of that laughing and as if it's a joke and as if, and people's lives are being affected and have been affected. Again, little things that cause anxiety. You think I'm going back through that little town to hit that back street? Baby, I don't care how long it's gonna take me. I'm gonna get on this main highway in 2023. Because again, foolishness like that is happening and it's still happening. You just don't know about it and you just don't hear about it because we on the fluff of, oh, we're not back in those times. Is that right? And so it is little situations and little things, again, that are happening in our community, that very genuine things that have happened in the past and have happened now, still to this day, on the job, um, you know, at home, you know, in the day-to-day, that people are encountering, that because you don't hear about it, people are still suffering. Just because you don't acknowledge it or you don't know about it doesn't mean it's not happening, right? I just want to put that penny on you. So for that, we're talking about anxiety. We're talking about anxiety today because there are so many men that are suffering from anxiety. Again, I didn't recognize what my dad was saying and the worry that was happening with him as anxiety, but guess what? It is. It is. When something is in you and it lasts, if you're worrying longer or more, and I'm going to do an anxiety test today so that you can see what your score is. See, are you are you on the level? Are you on the list? Check, check, check. If you've been experiencing these things for longer than 2 weeks, then it's a conversation to be had with a professional, with your doctor. Okay? Before I get into that, I just want to get into a little bit of information. So I'm going to say Black men, just like any race of men, it's not even just Black men, but I'm speaking to Black men today. But any ethnic group can suffer from anxiety, right? Any man, woman, it doesn't discriminate at all. But an anxiety disorder is characterized as something that is characterized, by excessive worry, fear, and apprehension that can interfere with your daily functioning and well-being. Some people are like, well, shall I get up and go to work? I get up and do, yep. So was I. They're functioning alcoholics. They're functioning drug addicts. So don't get it twisted. Stay focused. Some common anxiety disorders are known as general anxiety disorder, panic disorder, social anxiety disorder, and specific phobias. So factors that may contribute to anxiety in Black men particularly include racial and ethnic discrimination. We just talked about that, right? Experiences of racism, experiences of discrimination have a significant impact on mental health. It includes levels of stress and anxiety. Black men face systemic racism, microaggressions, meaning things that happen, like little things that are happening that somebody else is not happening to you, so you don't quite see it. But little things, little stereotypical things, little prejudices that are happening, they all contribute to feelings of anxiety. Number 2, and this is 4 things that I'm going to list here. Number 2, cultural factors. Cultural norms and expectations can influence how anxiety is perceived and expressed. Some cultural factors may discourage seeking help for mental health issues, including underdiagnosis and undertreatment of anxiety disorders among Black men. So this is the deal. I was in an office. I was working in the doctor's office, my last job. This man came in and we were going over depression and anxiety screening. And the young nurse that was going in there at the time, she was a new nurse, and this man, he he would not allow her to. She said he won't answer the questions. And so I said, okay, it's okay, sweetie. I'll go in. I'll talk to him. It's fine. Don't worry about it. So just do all your other things you need to do, and I'll go in for that part. So I always consider it a blessing because God always uses me in this way. It is no matter what, because I was answering the phones at the time. I wasn't working in the hallways and bringing patients back and that whole thing. But it seemed like whenever there was somebody that came in with an issue with anxiety or depression, the Lord always put me in that space to divinely be, intervene with that person. And so here we are. So I go in, hey, Mr. So-and-so, how you doing today? And I'm talking to him and we're going and I said, doctor wants you to do this testing. We got to do this. So we got to answer these questions. And so I just go in and I'm talking and then I ask the questions. And so we're going down. And so one of the questions, I started in one of the questions, this is the depression screen, it wasn't the anxiety screen. The depression screen, I said, have you felt like a failure or like you let your family down? This man paused. He sat there, and the next thing I know, this man was bawling. He was bawling, and he said, they count on me for everything. They count on me for everything. And it's weight, the weight of it all. And he's gladly doing it. He's gladly doing it. But the weight of it, that man cried. I saw this other thing the other day where this young guy was on Facebook, and I can't remember the post or whatever the post said, but it was something about men and fathers and expectation and that whole thing. And he was in his 20s, and he said, if I had one worry, I just worry about it. Will I be able to do all of the things? Will I be able to live up to my father? Will I be able to? And I was like, oh, the weight. Nobody takes the time to acknowledge the weight. Everybody carries some form of weight, right? Not your physical weight, but all the stuff, all the pressures that are so heavy on you for you to provide, for you to be the one, for you to continue and go on. The weight of it is heavy. It's heavy. And so when you're talking about the expectations, some people, are gladly doing it, but it is tiring. It can be exhausting. But they do it, and they do it with a smile. And they will pretend as if everything is fine. Everything is okay. Because Lord knows you're not supposed to cry. You're not supposed to say, it's heavy. You're supposed to pick it up, smile, be happy for this weight. Lift it up, and lift it up again each and every day. I'm talking to the men, but I'm talking to you too. It's heavy. It's okay to say this is heavy. That's okay, right? It's okay to say, dang, I need some help. This is heavy. I'm gonna move on. Number 3, socioeconomic factors. Socioeconomic disparities and challenges such as limited access to quality health care, higher rates of poverty, unemployment, exposure to violence can contribute to anxiety among Black men. That city life that I was talking about earlier, the exposure to violence, the country life that I was talking about earlier, walking, seeing your friend, anybody hanging from a tree, knowing downtown Tyler was the hanging place, was the auction block. I'm visual. And yeah, right now it's pretty and it's trees down there. But how much blood are on those rocks, guys? How many people saw downtown Tyler in its original form? Exposure to violence, unemployment, higher rates of poverty, quality health care. Honey, the Tuskegee experiment, where again, Black men targeted, was told they were getting one thing and got another. were getting placebos, were told they were being treated and got placebos so that they can study and get information on the symptoms. And watch these people suffer and die. And it went on for years. Years. And so when you talk about anxiety that men have about going to the doctor and they don't trust the healthcare system, that's real. And you're like, Michelle, dang, that happened a long time ago. But yeah, if I was born, if I was alive when those things happened, which this generation of men were alive when those things were happening, then guess what? I remember when I heard about that. Oh, no, y'all. Now, I don't mess with them doctors like that. Nah, I ain't taking no pills. I don't know what's in those. Oh, no, we ain't. That's real. That's real. Because it happens. Even to this day, African Americans, like their pain, they're automatically thought of as drug seekers, not genuine pain, because physicians are taught that Black people can hold and process pain and pressure better or more than other ethnicities. And so who ends up suffering longer, more with chronic pain? Google it. I ain't making nothing up. Google it. Chronic pain, African Americans. All of these things are real. They will cause mistrust in the healthcare system, right? That is why Dr. Cushman was so significant in Tyler, Texas for the African American community, because not only he was a Canadian man, but he was a good, genuine, honest man, right? That came into and placed into an environment back in the 70s when people were not seeing Black people. The doctors, the physicians, they were not really taking care of African American families, right? That's real. Dr. Cushman just retired. Just retired. Yeah, 50 years. And so for the people that are like my dad, who is 60, and my uncles in the 60s and 70s, right? And my aunt, these people were around when you couldn't even trust, you couldn't even go. There was only a certain few that would even see you because of your skin color. So the trust, the mistrust is a real thing. Dr. Cushman, thank God, again, one of the first. And when you speak about it, when he retired, he had one of the largest practices, if not the largest, in Douglas, in the Douglas Clinic. He saw a lot of families. Trusted. It was an honor and a privilege to work with him. An honor and a privilege, because he took his job not as a job. He took it as a privilege to serve. He worked in service for the good of all, right? And so you have people, again, that I feel like God will strategically place in the midst of darkness to bring some light. And so just have to honor Dr. Cushman on that right there, because one, I love him for who he is, and for what he's done in my life and what he's done in the lives of so many African American families. And I'm grateful for that. Quality health care. Number 4, intersectionality. The intersection of race, gender, and other identities can shape experiences of anxiety. Black men face unique stressors and pressures related to masculinity, stereotypes, societal expectations, and the intersections of their identity. It's so many things working. So again, it's layers on that thing. It's not just one thing, right? And so taking it all into consideration, all the things that I've listed, can you see how there's low anxiety? Yeah. Can you see how? Yeah. Black men can be having some anxiety and not even really know it, because they've just been going and doing and being and surviving and going and being and doing and surviving, right? As they were taught to go and be and do and survive the day. Yeah. So this is one of the reasons why I do what I do, because one, bringing awareness to these things. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to have you look at it from an angle you may not look at it. You may not have taken the time to look at before. Breaking the stigma of it all. One, just to have a conversation about it. What? Black people have anxiety? That's for white people stuff. What? You were talking about black men? What? That make us weak. We ain't weak people. No, we're not. And no, it doesn't. It's nothing weak about you. You've had some things that have happened in your life that have affected you. And it's okay to acknowledge that. And that's where we are with it. Acknowledging. So that you can stop suffering in silence. I have a friend, beautiful spirit, always giving, always working in church, going to work, working in church, going to work, working in church, paying for different things, looking out for the kids, doing community work, just going and going and going and giving and giving and giving. His mom and his father passed in the last few years. That man stay sick, stay with a cold, stay with something, stress, emotion of it all. Has he felt the thing? Has he felt the loss? Has he felt the grief? Have we dealt with the grief? Have we dealt with the loss? Have you dealt with the grief? Have you dealt with the loss? No, you just going because you're supposed to go. You got to go to work. I know. You got to provide for your family. I know. You got to pay these bills. I know. Mama want to go on a trip. I know. Your kids want this. I know. This man is having chest pain. He don't know what it is. He done been to the doctor. His heart is fine. But I keep having these chest pain. I'm telling him something wrong with me. I don't know what it is. I'll be driving. I'll be doing it. And all of a sudden, my chest starts hurting and I can't get it to stop. And I just feel like my heart is about to explode. I said, you're having panic attacks. There's nothing wrong with your heart. The anniversary of Mama's death was coming up. And as you're just going to work, as you're just going to church, as you're just trying to spend some time with your kids, as you're just trying to go and be and do, your body is saying, Mama passed away. Daddy passed away. I'm feeling some kind of way about this. And you're like, oh no, we got to go. We got to do. We ain't got time to be dealing with that. We got to go. And your body is saying, Mama passed away. Daddy passed away. Remember that thing when we were little. Remember that. It hurts. And you're going, oh no. I gotta go. I gotta go to work. I gotta take care of it. Your body is gonna make you acknowledge at some point that's what's happening with the panic attacks, with the anxiety. Your body is saying, hey, something happened. You just gonna let that fly on by? You didn't see that? You don't remember that? Remember? We have to take some time to talk about these things, guys. It's uncomfortable. I know you wanted to forget it. I know you don't want to remember. I know you think that it hasn't affected you. It would be so easy to just move on. Oh man, I just want to move on. I don't want to think about that stuff. I know. But your body remembers. Your body is waiting for the acknowledgement. And the thing about it is that it's not just one thing. It's not just one thing. When I went to the Stuck conference, I sat up and I thought, oh my God, I figured out why the weight is here. And I tied it all together and everything. And I was like, oh, I got it all figured out. And I understand it. I know. And this happened to me. So that affected my weight. And this is that. And I'm like, oh, I got it now. I'm healed. I know. I'm good. One thing I acknowledge. One, I got 35 things on the list. There are 35 things on the list. I acknowledge one, talking about I'm healed. I'm good. I'm ready. Them other 34 is like, baby, we still here. You ain't acknowledged us. We still up in here. We still in here. What you doing? What you think you about to do? Oh, okay. You still gonna try to go be and do? Oh, okay then. Cause we still here. Oh, all right. We gonna be right here too when you get ready. And then the holiday come up, a birthday come up, an anniversary come up, a car that they used to drive, a scene comes on, a song that they used to sing. Something happens that reminds you, that triggers you. A smell, a taste, a sound. Your body remembers and you're triggered. And then next thing you know, you're having chest pains. You can't breathe. You feel like you're underwater. You're spazzing out for a second. Something is happening. You don't have a full understanding of what it is. Something is not right. You know you're not yourself, but you can't quite put your finger on it. That's what it looks like. That's what it feels like, right? That is what it looks like, and that's what it feels like. Anxiety, y'all. We're talking about anxiety. We're talking about panic attacks. Because there are so many things that we sit and we ignore. And we act as if we acknowledge these things, then that means that we're weak. That means something's wrong with me. That means it's a deficiency. It means I'm not a man. The devil is a liar. All day, every day. The devil is a liar. All day, every day. And so I'm taking my time with this, guys, because it's so important for you to recognize, for you to acknowledge, and for you to know. I'm going to go over some signs and symptoms. Okay? We're going to go over some signs and symptoms. And then we're going to take the test and we'll wrap up. Stay with me. These are signs of anxiety, excessive worry. Seven of them. 7 signs of anxiety. It's excessive worry, feeling persistently and excessively worried or fearful about various aspects of life when it relates to work, it relates to your relationships, it relates to your health or your future. Now, it's okay to just be like, oh my gosh, this is about to happen, whatever. But when it's excessive, it's lasting over 2 weeks. That's the cue, and that's the difference. If you've been having this excessive worrying for whatever it is for over 2 weeks, check. Okay? Restlessness. You exhausted. You don't work all day. I will be at work thinking about going to bed when I was at work. Oh my God, I just head about to hit the desk. I'm exhausted. Oh, as soon as I get home. As soon as I get home. As soon as I get home. I'm praying. I'm going to bed. Difficulty staying still, feeling a sense of restlessness or being on edge. You just restless. You can't quite sit still. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to do this. You got to do that. You exhausted. But you got to do this. Let me do this one more thing. Let me go over here. Let me go over here. Let me do this. Oh, wait a minute. I'm tired. Yeah, I'm tired, but hang on. I got to do this one more thing. Restlessness. Y'all, it's 12 o'clock. I got to take a pause. I said a prayer earlier today, but 12 o'clock, my church family prays as a collective. And so I'm just going to take a minute and say, Lord, I thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be a vessel on today. Thank you for whoever is going to see this message in the future. In your name, all glory, honor, and praise today, Lord, for you allowing them and allowing them to see the video and then allowing me to be the vessel. Lord, I give your name all the glory, honor, and praise. In your son Jesus' name, Christ, I pray. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. If you want to set your alarms at 12 o'clock every day, we are saying a prayer, and it really is just the Lord's Prayer or whatever it is you have to say to God, but to be thankful and grateful as a collective church family for the Lord to continue to use, to allow, to bless us in each and every way that we need for him to fulfill your needs. Thank you for that. Number 3, fatigue. Feeling tired or fatigued even without engaging in physical demanding activities due to mental and emotional strain. fatigue. I mean, you tired. You tired. Yes, tired. Just tired. You ain't done nothing. You sitting around. Excuse me. We live. I need to drink some water. We live, honey. You tired. You ain't done nothing. You just woke up. You tired. You laying tired. Number 4, irritability. Having a short fuse, becoming easily irritable over minor things. What? What'd you say? What's wrong with you? Why are you doing that? What? Huh? You said, why are you eating like that? Why you? You ever seen somebody chew funny? You get a whole attitude. Why? Why you gotta chew? Just irritable. Short fuse, honey. Don't matter what nobody say. Do you hear me? Don't matter what nobody say. You got something to say about it. Just funky attitude. Funky. Number 5, muscle tension. Muscle tension. Experiencing muscle tension, tightness or stiffness, often in the neck, shoulders, or the jaw. Muscle tension. I would have these balls. I mean, they felt like knots in my back. Excuse me. Especially when it would come to like, excuse me. Especially when it would come to like something I knew was coming up and I didn't have the money to pay it. And it would show up in my body as tension in between my shoulder blade and not even at the top, like the back, my shoulder blade, and the tension and the tight and just the knots and balls that were in there, layers. My neck would just be find yourself like trying to find it is deep. It's deep down off in there. Number 6, difficulty concentrating. Finding it challenging to focus, concentrate, or make decisions. Just, what was I doing? I need to do this. Let me sit down and focus on what? Yeah. Number 7, sleep disorders. Having difficulty falling asleep, staying asleep, or experiencing the restlessness due to the anxious thoughts or the physical restlessness. Honey, again, tired, insomnia. I don't know why I ain't sleeping. I ain't slept in years. And one of my clients say, I ain't slept in years. I ain't had a good night's sleep in years. I only sleep 3 or 4 hours a night. Again, I said, if this is lasting longer than 2 weeks, and you talking about years, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. And so just like my friend was having, and I just want to go over panic attacks because, again, big stigma. Oh, God, no, it's not happening with men. It definitely ain't happening in the African-American community, and it sure ain't happening to men. That's for white people. You hadn't heard? Okay. Why are we having them then? Okay. We're going to go over it. Number 1, and this is 7 signs as well, of panic attacks, okay? Sudden intense fear. You're experiencing sudden and overwhelming feelings of intense fear or panic, like this impending doom. Like your mind is just kind of overtaken with, oh my goodness, like it's just heightened fear. Something is going to happen, something will happen, something is going to happen. It's overwhelming, it's intense. So I ain't never experienced nothing like that. Okay. It's 6 more signs. Number 2, heart palpitations. Feeling a rapid or pounding beating of your heart. Sensations of skipped beats or like your heart is racing. You ain't doing nothing. You hadn't done nothing. You might just be sitting. I'm just trying to stretch my back, y'all. I feel like, oh, look, I'm talking about the muscle tension. You haven't done anything, right? You haven't done anything. It literally is, again, this overwhelming feeling of your heart is coming out of your chest. Your heart is beating rapidly. You feel like you're about to have a heart attack. But you go get to the hospital, go check. You having these chest pains. Your heart is fine. But it feels like, right? Number 3, shortness of breath. Shortness of breath. Having difficulty breathing or feeling like you can't catch your breath or experiencing this choking feeling. The first time I had a panic attack, I felt like I could not breathe. I felt like, I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where you've been in a pool and you might have almost drowned, or, you walking and the water is like right here. The water is like right here on your neck. And you you get that feeling like, if I go down, it's like this feeling where your heart goes. It's this feeling, if you haven't felt it, you don't know what I'm talking about. But for those of you that have, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? It is this overwhelming, like shortness. You can't breathe. You can't take a deep breath. It feels like somebody is choking you. It feels like you're going underwater. It feels like you're drowning. You can't quite catch your breath. You can't breathe enough. You can't take a deep breath. It's a terrible feeling. Terrible feeling. First time I had a panic attack, I was driving. I was at a light, and all of a sudden, I felt like I was underwater, like I was drowning, like I couldn't breathe. Shortness of breath to the 10th power. It's a terrible feeling. It's a terrible feeling. Shortness of breath. Number 5, chest discomfort. Feelings of chest pain, of chest tightness or discomfort, often accompanied by a sense of impending doom. Like, again, you just feel like something is about to happen. You feel like you're going to die. It's a terrible feeling. It's a terrible feeling. You don't know what is going on. Number 5, sweating. Breaking out into cold sweats, feeling clammy, or having excessive perspiration, just balls of sweat all over. Anxiety. I see bald heads with just balls of sweat. Number 6, trembling or shaking. Experiencing trembling or shaking of the body, especially in the hands or the limbs. Especially in the hands or the limbs. Like shaking, right? Trembling. Number 7 is nausea or stomach upset. Feeling nauseated, experiencing stomach discomfort, or having an upset stomach during a panic attack. This can happen as many times as over and over and over again as you're thinking about whatever it is that you're thinking about. The first panic attack I had, it was Thanksgiving. So we're talking holidays, we're talking, again, birthdays, we're talking, special occasions, we're talking, anniversary deaths of the deaths, coming, special things like maybe it's Juneteenth and y'all always went to the Juneteenth parade together. You know what I mean? Special occasions, things like that might take you into this stuck place. And so the first panic attack I had 8 years ago after my stepfather passed away. And really, I was thinking about my baby brother. I was thinking about my brother, and I was thinking about my stepdad not being there. And I had just moved back to Texas, and I had been gone for 2 weeks because my stepdad had passed away. I had started a new job in August, right? And so I didn't have any PTO, right? I had no more time off. I couldn't go home for the holidays. I'm feeling some kind of way about that. That one, I can't go and be with my baby brother. I knew it was going to be a difficult time. Can't go and be with my mom. You know what I mean? Like I was just feeling all of these emotions. And um, and even in the feeling like, dang, in a financial situation, I'm like, dang, if I had some money, then at least maybe I wouldn't even worry about the PTO. I'd just still be able to go, but I didn't have it. I didn't have the money. And it was so many layers in there, right? And then I was thinking about, I kept seeing, I'm visual. I kept seeing my stepfather every Thanksgiving, he fried turkeys. And so I kept seeing him on the back porch frying turkeys. And I was like, dang, Dad ain't gonna be out there frying the turkeys anymore. And where's Silas gonna go? And what is he gonna do? Because of course, it was just this overwhelming feeling of helplessness in the situation of it all, right? And I didn't say it out loud, right? I wasn't talking about it. I didn't say it out loud to anybody, but I'm thinking as Thanksgiving week is coming, I'm thinking of all these things. And I'm feeling some kind of way about it. And so I just dropped baby girl off, and I'm driving, drop baby girl off, and I get to the light and I pull up, and then all of a sudden I feel like I'm underneath the water. I feel like this water is just coming up on me. I feel like I think too because I've almost drowned before. Lord, I can't get it out. I've almost drowned before, and I remember that feeling, you know. And so the trembling, the nauseated feeling, the sweating, you know, the chest pain, the chest discomfort. I remember driving. I called my cousin. She helped me get through it. And I get to my job. I had at least 7, 8 panic back to back to back to back. Every time I thought it was coming down, another one came. It would go away, another one came. It would go away, another one came until I got to the emergency room, of course, and they, gave me some medicine or whatever and checked my heart and all that stuff, and then realized it was anxiety, gave me the medicine and calmed me down. But I didn't know what in the world was going on. And again, if you can imagine all of these things happening, they're so vague. You're going to think that you're having a panic attack. I mean, excuse me, you're going to think that you're having a heart attack. You're going to think that you're dying. You're going to think, what in the world, right? It's a terrible feeling. But um, it's the best thing to, one, acknowledge and not pretend like nothing is going on. I suffered for so long because the the um the doctor in the emergency room, she told me that I was having situational depression, situational anxiety. And so I thought, oh, okay, this makes sense. It'll pass. I'm like, okay, it makes sense. It's the holidays. I got it. My dad, my big mama just passed. Okay, I got it. I'm sad. You know what I mean? It'll go away. All those symptoms, all those signs of anxiety, again, lasted way longer than 2 weeks. Way longer. So I'm saying that to say, don't suffer in silence. If you're experiencing these things, if you have experienced these things, if you do experience these things, and you go get checked out and your heart is fine, it doesn't make you weak. to say something is going on. It doesn't make you weak to say, hey, something significant in my life has happened and it's impacted me. I've had a significant loss and I miss my mom. I miss my dad. I miss my child. I miss what I thought my life was going to be. I miss. It doesn't make you weak. It's actually strengthen that to acknowledge, to be able to see where you are in this world and want to be better, not wanting to suffer. We were not put here. You are not here on this side of heaven to suffer. Break those chains, right? On this Juneteenth Monday, you are free. Break those chains. Yeah, those things are holding you hostage. And so this is the thing too to understand and to note. This is very important to remember that experiencing occasional anxiety or even having a panic attack does not necessarily mean that you have an anxiety disorder, right? However, if these symptoms persist, significantly impact your daily life, that's what was happening with me, is that it was persisting and it was impacting my daily life. Right? That's what happens with a lot of you. It is persisting and it is impacting your daily life. You're pretending as if everything is okay, and you know that it's not. You know that it's not. If it causes you significant distress, it is recommended to seek professional help from a mental health provider for accurate diagnosis. So, inappropriate treatment options. Everything does not require medication. Let's just put a penny in it. Everything does not require medication. I don't want to be on that medicine. I don't want to be on. I don't take them pills. I don't do that. I don't. Okay, but there's other things that you can do, right? There are other methods out there. That's what the healthcare professional is for. A mental health care professional is for, to help you to navigate. What else can you do? Maybe you just need to go talk to a therapist. Oh my God, Michelle, Black folk don't talk to therapists. Is that right? Because I guarantee you, once you do, once you just break that stigma, and don't tell me you talked to a therapist and it didn't work. Yeah, 1 or 2 times that don't count. You ain't give it a try. You have not given it a try. If it ain't been a whole 90 days, because it takes 90 days at least for something, for you to be doing something for 90 days in order for you to see significant change. If it ain't been 90 days, if you haven't been doing it or trying it for 90 days, guess what? Mm-mm, mm-mm. And with therapy, at least minimum 6 months to a year. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because what? You're only going once a month, or you're only going once every 2 weeks. Everything that's gonna happen to you. How long you been here? How how long have you been here? Okay. What did I say about those 35 things on the list? So you just think that you went to therapy twice and you want to unpack all the whole 35 things in 2 sessions. It ain't work. Is that right? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, honey. It's this thing called insanity. The definition of insanity is doing the same things over and over and over again and expecting a different result. You've been doing it your way. You've been suffering. You might think you want to try something different. I'm just saying. All right. I'm gonna move on. I know I was in your business. I'm gonna move on. Okay. You said, Michelle, I just want to take the test. I just want to take the test. Okay. All right. Let me get my note. Let me get my note. I pray and I hope that this has helped somebody, because again, it is just one of those things. I know it's not comfortable. It's not a comfortable conversation. It's not a comfortable thing to acknowledge, right? Because again, you have to shift on how you're thinking about that thing in your mind. Again, what is weakness and what is not. When I first started even talking about, what I was going through, I was talking to a very good friend of mine, and he said, Michelle, that's weak. He said, you what? You going to it? What? That's weak. And I remember, boy, it was almost like he punched me in my chest. I was like, oh my God. And I got embarrassed. And I felt shame. And I was like, dang, am I weak? But then I had to think about that thing. You know how much strength, how much courage, how much fortitude you got to have to acknowledge some things, to deal with some uncomfortable things, to go some places, go to some dark places. Have you ever walked in the dark somewhere? Even if you good grown, it could be a little scary. And you walking anyway. And then not only am I walking, but I got the nerve to come back and try to bring some other people through the darkness. Baby, ain't nothing weak about me. Ain't nothing weak about you. Right? You've just gone through some things that you need to acknowledge. That's it. That you need to take care of. That's it. That's it. Yeah. Just like that. Baby, I know I'm a conqueror in this world. When you get to a place where you don't need anybody to co-sign, you don't need validation for your purpose in your life. See, I think that was the thing back in it. I was looking for validation. I was looking for, some support. But if nobody gives you the support and you know that's what your purpose is, you know what you're supposed to be doing, it doesn't matter. Because guess what? I'm in operation. You're in operation, honey. We are soldiers in the army with the commander of one. The commander is watching. The commander gives me my marching orders. I don't need validation from nobody else. You don't need validation from anyone else, honey. Okay. All right, let's get to these questions. Let me get you take your test, honey. Let me get you take your test. This is called anxiety screening. Very simple, 7 questions. Anxiety screening. And this is, again, I'm not a mental health professional. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a licensed, let me say it like that. I'm not a licensed mental health therapist, psychologist, psychiatrist, none of it. But what I am is I'm very passionate about educating people on their mental health, for people to know where they are. Because if you don't know where you are, how can you fix it? How can you treat it? If you don't know that something is going on, you don't know something is quote unquote wrong. Not that anything is wrong with you, but if something is wrong, right, quote unquote, how will you fix it? So again, we have to acknowledge that thing. I didn't know I was suffering as much as I didn't know it was that bad, because I had been going and being and doing for so long, my whole life. That's normal. I didn't know that these things that had happened to me in my childhood were traumatic things, because we're not taught that. We're taught, what? You better go on. You come on. Yeah, you stomped your foot. I know it hurt, but keep walking. You can't even deal with, yeah, we know your toe hurting, but keep walking. Get up and keep going. And then there's a sense of pride that you can get up and go so far, that you can get up and go and do so much. Then so it's almost like it's this pride in the suffering. Oh, that makes me strong because I've suffered so. It's not necessary. You're amazing regardless. You don't have to suffer. You don't have to continue to suffer. That's all I'm saying. Get you a pen or a pencil because you're gonna need it. We're gonna just talk about the last 2 weeks is what I want you to think of. Just the last 2 weeks, okay? Now we're gonna score this from 0, 1, 2, or 3. I'm gonna ask you 7 questions and you want to score 0, 1, 2, or 3. All right? For each question. 0 is not at all. 1 is several days. 2 is more than half the days. And 3 is nearly every day. Again, we're testing for anxiety. And this is if you have felt this way for the last 2 weeks. Over the last 2 weeks, how often have you been bothered by the following problems? Number 1, feeling nervous, anxious, or on edge. In the last 2 weeks and over, have you felt nervous, anxious, or on edge? 0 is not at all. 1 is several days. 2 is more than half the days. 3 is nearly every day. Feeling nervous, anxious, or on edge. Number 2, not being able to stop or control worrying. Not being able to stop or control worrying. 0, not at all. 1, several days. 2, more than half the days. 3, nearly every day. Number 3, worrying too much about different things. Are you worrying too much about different things? 0 is not at all. 1 is several days. 2 is more than half the days. 3 is nearly every day. Number 4, trouble relaxing. Have you had trouble relaxing? 0, not at all. 1, several days. 2, more than half the days. 3, nearly every day. Number 5, being so restless that it's hard to sit still. In the last 2 weeks, longer than 2 weeks, have you been feeling restless and like it's hard to sit still? 0 is not at all. 1 is several days. 2 is more than half the days. 3 is nearly every day. Number 5. Child, I can't count today. Number 6. Being easily annoyed or irritable. Being easily annoyed or irritable. 0 is not at all. 1 is several days. 2 is more than half the days. 3 is nearly every day. My daughter talks about how snappy I was when she was younger. How I would pop her at psh, psh, psh. Stop doing that. Psh, stop doing stop. Fussing all the time. Very irritable, right? I could just imagine. I'm in nursing school. I'm worried about the money. I'm worried about how I'm going to pay for stuff. I'm worried about this. I'm worried about that. High anxiety. Did I realize at the time that my anxiety was high? Not at all. Did I realize at the time that I was snapping at my daughter for every little tiny thing in her mind she felt like? Not at all. But as a result of that, today, in her adult age, I had to go back and apologize. Now she was like joking about it, comparing herself and how I am with the baby girl to this girl, to her, and how I'm more patient because I don't have those same worries and stresses that I had when I had her as a child, newly divorced, going to school, trying to provide. All the foundation is laying on me. All the foundation is laying on you. Don't beat yourself up. what I'm saying to you. Give yourself some grace. I did have to call my daughter and have a conversation with her. I had to apologize for some things that I said and I did to her when she was younger because I wasn't in a good space. That's okay. Give yourself some grace in the midst of the crazy, in the midst of all of this. Don't go into that dark place. This is not about blaming yourself. This is about seeing where you are and getting better. Do you need to go back and have some conversations? I'm sure you do. Do that. Do that. But we're not wallowing, right? We're not wallowing, and we're not holding ourselves hostage to our past. Number 7, feeling afraid as if something awful might happen. Feeling afraid as if something awful might happen. 0 is not at all. 1, not just almost. 1 is several days. 2 is more than half the days. And 3 is nearly every day. Now, what I want you to do is total all of that, the 7 questions. I want you to total all of those. Add your columns up. Add them all up. Total the whole thing. Total your columns. Total your columns. Add it all up. What is your total score? What is your total score? And so this is a guide, again, for you to take to your and share with your doctor. You can just go to you're like, Michelle, I don't have no therapist. I don't have no, You can take it to your primary care physician and let them know, hey, I was watching this live, or I went to a conference, or whatever it is, because I've done several things and I do this in several places. So wherever it is that you're watching, I did this test for anxiety and this was my score. And you can go into a little more detail with your doctor as to why you may have the score that you have. So we're tallying everything up. All right. Your totals are from 0 to 4 is mild anxiety. From 0 to 4 is mild anxiety. That is, oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. Oh my God, we're alive. I'm telling you, somebody must need this information because the devil is busy. I'm so sorry. But I gotta do it. I'm got an itch back in my ear. Oh my God. The devil is busy. Oh my gosh. Yo, we alive. We alive. I'm sorry. 0 to 4, mild anxiety. If you have mild anxiety, 0 to 4, that is you're in a monitoring phase, and that is be aware. You're kind of on the cusp. Things are bothering you. Whatever it is, you want to communicate. Get some things off of you. Talk to your doctor about this as well. Maybe you need to go and do some walking. Get into some exercise, be able to get some release, do some self-care, right? All of these things help with mild anxiety. You can take care of it at home, right? But don't just sit there, oh, I'm only and so I ain't got to do nothing. No, you don't want it to get worse, right? You don't want it to get worse because it can and it will fairly quickly. Things happen day to day, stuff shifts. And so get yourself in a place. Okay, 5 to 9 is moderate anxiety. 5 to 9 is moderate anxiety. This right here is a level where you want to talk to your doctor for sure. 5 to 9, you want to talk to your doctor for sure. Again, self-care, communication, journaling, right? Getting some things off of you, but acknowledging if you've had some death, grief, traumatic things that might have happened to you, if you have some subconscious strongholds like fear, negative self-talk, those type of things. Therapy is not a bad thing to consider at this point, because you have some things on you that you need to get off. If you don't want to go to therapy, you can go to a trusted friend at this point. You can go to your pastor, but somebody that you trust, that you're able to communicate and get these things off. You have support groups that you're able to join at this point that, will be appropriate. 10 to 14 is moderately severe anxiety. Moderately severe anxiety, 10 to 14. Moderately severe anxiety. This is, you definitely need to talk to your doctor. You should be talking to a therapist at this point. Introduction of psychiatry at this point as well. Moderately severe is, these things are not really optional. You can't just take care of it on your own. Nothing is wrong with you, but you need some help to navigate whatever it is that you're going through. You're not in a good place. And that's just the reality of the situation. You're not in a good place. 10 to 14, you're not in a good place. You've been dealing with this by yourself. You've been suffering in silence for a long time. It's time to get some help. The difference between a psychiatrist and a psychologist is a psychiatrist are the ones who prescribe medications. And so they may prescribe some medication that may help you. A psychologist, a therapist, a counselor, are those people that you're going in for a session, you're talking to about your problems. You see people sitting on the couch on the movies or whatever for an hour. So that is the psychologist. Excuse me. I know when I first started dealing with mental health and nursing some years ago, years far back, I was working at a pediatric hospital and they had these different entities there. And the parents would be so upset because they felt like the psychiatrist, they would call and contact her and she would be like, no, call a therapist, call a psychologist, call, did you talk to so-and-so about this problem? And the parents would be so upset. So I had to explain to them, the psychiatrist is for the medication. They're to make sure that you're on the medication. So if your medication isn't working, that's who you would talk to and give that information to. And they would adjust and monitor that dose to make sure you're at a therapeutic medication range, right? Your psychologist is the person that is, oh my God, my daughter did this today. Oh my God, I'm feeling this kind of way today. Oh my God, I'm feeling overwhelmed. They're the ones that are going to give you the day-to-day suggestions, the day-to-day, again, therapeutic regimen to help you get through and process. They'll tell you, explain to you why you might be feeling the way that you're feeling. They'll go into a little more detail. That's what their hour is for. There's a difference, right? And then there are different types of counselors. And so, we'll be mindful of that. Now, 15 to 21 or anything greater means severe anxiety. 15 to 21 is severe anxiety. I was in the 20s when I was diagnosed. 20s. Going around, going and being and doing, struggling at night with all of these things. I couldn't sleep. I was tired. I would be at work, falling like miserable, not understanding, thinking that it was going to pass, having panic attacks in the morning on the way to work. Every day driving to work, I would see this white blazer. My stepfather drove the white blazer. I would see or hear something that reminded me of my big mama. I'm having these panic attacks driving to work. I would lose spaces of time when I was in here getting ready for work because I'm thinking. Worrying about all of the stuff, worrying, just thinking. Can't shut it off. I can't shut it off. I got this, I got this, I got this, I got this. What about this and this and this? What about this and this and this? And it's crazy because when I think about it and I'm explaining this, and every time I'm thinking, dang, I haven't been like this my whole life. So why is this happening now? Like, what is going on? This is happening now. Well, again, just even like with my dad, right? The anxiety has always been there. It's always been this little, you worrying about stuff, but you're pushing past, you're going. But when something has happened in your life, very significant, there's been a life-altering change, somebody passed away, your job is different, you, you get fired, you have a divorce, you separate, something happens to one of your children, you know that something life-altering has happened to you, and then you're trying to go on as if nothing has happened. Guess what? The volume turns up. The anxiety turns up. The depression turns up. I've always had these moments of sadness. I've always had these moments of worry. But you're pressing on, you're pressing on, you're pressing on. But something significant happened. Significant things happened. My big mama and my dad passed away. Two very significant people. The volume turned up. And I was going through trying to act like two significant people hadn't passed in my life. Yeah, we have people that pass away, but two significant people, your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, your children, something has happened. You lost your job. I had to go through this adjustment myself. I haven't worked a full-time job since November. I'm 40, at 45 years old, I'm 46 now, but at 45 years old, I'm trying to process, is something wrong with me? What is going on with me? Oh my God, I'm 45 and I've never not had a job. Like, oh my God. How am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? I got this coming up, got this coming up. Navigating in the midst of the crazy. You have significant things that will change. You've had something that has happened, something that's different, very significant. You're going along your life. You've been like this, and then you drop. You're trying to get up and just walk. Like your foot ain't broke. Like you ain't stumped your toe. Like you ain't, like something ain't happened, right? And so again, if these numbers, you've taken this test and these numbers have shown significant anxiety, please stop suffering. It's not a coincidence. God is not a just because God. He does not give us information and bring people to us just because. I don't know when you're going to be watching this. I don't know if it'll be years from now and I'm long gone, but I am going to beg of you and I'm going to let you know the name that God has given me, Michelle D.I., for divine intervention is because I just noticed as I've gone about life, in the midst of my crazy, God always sent me something. He always sent me someone. He always sent me somebody. He always worked it out. Something. He always sent me a sign. He always sent me a message, be it from people that I knew or people that I didn't know online. It was a divine intervention. And so I pray that this for you today, that you take it in the spirit that is given as a divine intervention in your life and you stop suffering because you don't have to. I know this old nagging subconscious thing in you is this unworthiness sometimes. I got a video on that too. I'm doing a video on that too, unworthiness, right? That's in you because subconsciously we'll suffer because somewhere in there we think that we deserve to suffer because of the decisions we made in our past, because of something that we've done. And so subconsciously, it's not conscious. You don't know that you're doing it. It's not conscious, honey. It's very subconscious. But how do you know? Because when you try to go and do something about it, you sabotage. You self-sabotage. Or you won't do it. Or you'll think about it and think about it. Even though you know it's something that you need. Even though you know it's something that'll benefit your life. Something's holding you back from it. You're suffering. You don't have to. Break those chains today. On this, Juneteenth Monday. Again, we've been free. You've been free. The significance. You've been free. On this Juneteenth Monday. 2 years. You've been free. We enslaved. We held captive mentally by the subconscious things. You've been free, boo. You have the key. You've been free. Yeah, it's that simple. It's that simple. If you need help and resources on any of this, please go to my YouTube channel. I have all of the resources there. Go to my link tree. I have resources listed on there as well. And I pray that you get the help that you need, that you start to see yourself for who you are and whose you are, right? Yeah. God did not bring us here to suffer, honey. He didn't. Yeah. Jesus came so that you may have light, have love, and life abundantly. Yes. 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 That's it, and that's all I got for you today. Oh boy, I'm telling you, honey, when I don't come on to the lives, I try to give you something because I ain't been here. I ain't seen you. In my country voice, I ain't seen you. Your girl is a little city and a little country. It'll come out, all of it comes out all together. It is who I am, who I'm very proud to be, a beautiful blend of the city, Miss Lillian Newkirk and Miss Newkirk Brown, and the country, Mr. Larry Allen, as I honor my father for all of the beautiful things and everything that he has contributed to my life and to others, and to all of the wonderful fathers out there who are doing, being, going, trying. I see you. I thank you. You are appreciated. To my father, I see you. Flaws and all, I see you. I thank you. I appreciate you. I love you. With every being in my body, nothing will ever change it. In my going, in my doing, in my being, I love you. Yes. Thank you, family. Thank you for joining me. I pray that you honor your father, that you can see some good, even in the flaws. I pray that you can acknowledge if you have something going on in your body. I pray that something was said today that helped you. Because for me, honey, it's not about the masses. I'm coming for the one. So if it was one today that was helped, I did my job. And I'm grateful for that. Yes. So it is your girl, Michelle Franklin, wrapping up. Miss Michelle Allen, D.I., honey. Miss Michelle Allen Franklin, Miss Michelle D.I., Mrs. Divine Intervention. Where is my book? Okay. As we close, I would like to close with this thought, and prayer. This is 365 days of prayer. It is June the 19th. Let's go and see what God has for us today. What is the message of the day? The message of the day today on June the 19th, it says, led by truth. Guide me in your truth and teach me. For you are God, my Savior, and my hope is in you all day long. I know that's right. That's Psalms 25 and 5. That's the New International Version, y'all. It says, Savior, you are the leader of my life. In you I find the freedom for which my heart so desperately longs. You guide me into truth as I follow you on your pathway of peace. You are my help when I am lost, my confidence when I am undone, and my covering when I am vulnerable. Let my heart find its rest in you again today as you fight for me. Let your wisdom be my advisor as I venture in this life. I don't lean on my own understanding today. I yield my ways to yours, knowing that you always see the bigger picture. Where I am likely to fail, even there, your wisdom leads me through. I will keep pressing. I will keep pressing on and pressing until you, as I go about my day. Let me say that again. I will keep pressing. I will keep pressing on, pressing into you as I go about my day. You are my holy help. May my heart take courage in the knowledge that you are with me. And the question of the day is, do you trust God to guide you through uncertainty? What a question. Do you trust God to guide you through uncertainty? You don't have to be a Christian to be on my channel, honey, but your girl is all faith-based. I am lean and independent. I am in service for a party of one. Yeah. And then you just get to watch. You get to bear witness. Because as I'm talking to you, I'm talking to me. Any and every lesson that I've learned, I just want to share. That is the community builder in me. It's naturally who I am, that I want to share. Because I don't see anything that I've gone through. I don't see any of the crazy. It's just that God, again, it's not a just because God. Each and everything that we're going through, as you navigate through the anxiety, as you navigate through the crazy, as you navigate through all the pressures, all of the baggage, right? All of the things that we carry, as you navigate through, understand and know that you are loved. That it's not just because somebody out there needs you. And even though they might not say it, somebody out there appreciates you. You are necessary. Again, if you need any resources for anything dealing with your mental health, please, you can call 988 as well for resources. That is the national mental health line now. Instead of dialing 911 for any mental health situation, any mental health thing that you need, 988 is the national number instead of 911 now for resources, and they can help you with anything in your area. And for additional resources, please check out my YouTube channel. I have done what I've came to do today. I hate to say goodbye, but I got to go. I got things to do today. I got some other things to do. Okay. It's your girl, Michelle Franklin, honey. Miss Michelle Allen, Miss Michelle D.I. again. Miss Community Builder, telling you, honey, when you walk in your purpose, which you got to get that anxiety, all that stuff up off you, right? When you walk in your purpose, honey, you inspire others to walk in theirs. That is what I desire to do. I aspire to inspire until I expire, just like Mr. Les Brown. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. What you doing? Have a good one, sweetie.